y'all doing today?
There
You are.
I'm here.
Yay!
I swear I am. How you doing, my friend?
I am good. How about you? It's
I'm
Friday. Hey.
Spectacular.
Oh, I like that.
Do you?
Mighty
Do you like
positive.
that?
Yeah.
Yes.
I've been a little scatterbrained today. Let me just tell you what happened while we were letting people join in, etc. Okay, so today my husband was going to come home early and take our dog to the vet to get her thyroid checked, okay? And I was supposed to give her her medication within a 4 to 6 hour period before getting her blood drawn. And this morning I was just on routine and I gave it to her at 7:45 instead of 10. So that all had to get rearranged and I felt terrible. My poor husband. But anyway, so that we got it rescheduled for Monday and I'm going to have to write a note. Apparently I'm just like, and then I put my bacon tray in the oven without any bacon on it. Okay, so there you go. That's how my day's going so far.
The first one,
that is great.
The first issue with the dogs, I'm like, you're a human being, my friend. Those kinds of mistakes happen. But putting the bacon pan in the oven with no bacon in it, did you turn the heat on?
I did.
Oh my God!
Yes, and I kept wondering why don't I smell bacon? Well, and then I got to thinking, wait a minute, I don't remember opening the package of bacon.
Oh my gosh.
I know, right? Anyway.
If I had the right kind of video capability, the parody I would make from this, oh my goodness.
I know. I always tell my husband, thank God there's no camera in my house watching me because, I do goofy stuff. Yeah.
Oh, I've done goofy. I do goofy stuff all the time. I don't keep a list, but I haven't done that one. The dumbest thing I do here lately is I'll put my dentures in and throw the cleaner in, and I'll forget to put the water in with it. So, and then you wake up the next morning and Well, I tell you what, this is our 18th episode of the KetovoreKast.
Wow.
Yeah, and we want to let everybody know we apologize for taking a 2-week vacation, but we both had real life just stomping on us.
Happened. Yeah.
And we're going to get into some of that here as we continue the discussion, but we appreciate you all taking time out of your day to stop by. If you have any questions, no matter what we're talking about, it could be about something completely different as long as it's nutrition related. And we'll take the time to answer it.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the reasons why we prefer this format for our podcast. So last week was your 7-month carniversary.
Yes.
Well, why don't you tell us about that?
Well, I have had a pretty awesome, transformation, whatever you want to say. The main thing that I've noticed, the two things, and I've mentioned this before, but it continues to get even better. My digestion, number one, I just can't even explain the difference. And I thought I was good on keto. It's night and day. And, I didn't understand that it could be good like this. I thought it was normal to have all the issues. It's not, people. It's not. But anyway, that's so much better. But the other thing, it's not surprising to me, but it's exciting. Is my skin oh my gosh. You can ask Brett. He sees me without my makeup when we have our discussions about what we're going to talk about on our podcast. And
she hides the horns with her hair.
Well, I do that. Yeah.
She hides the horns with her hair, people.
I'm just push them down a little bit so I can wear my hair straight sometimes.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. Your face has undergone an amazing transformation in these few months. And let's face it, 7 months is not that long.
And I'm 53,
And you've been suffering from this.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You've been for decades, right?
Since about my mid-20s. And I'm 53, so yeah.
30 years.
Yeah. And on keto, it cleared up a lot. It did. But on carnivore, it's like, whoa. And it's, of course, the protein and the collagen protein, and my hair, goodness. And I've said this before, I'm not sure, but I was just a couple of days ago, Wednesday, I was at my hairdresser getting my hair colored. Yeah, I get my hair colored. I'll admit it. But
me too.
There's like from here to here, she said, "Oh my goodness, I'm just not even kidding. That it is coming in thicker. It is smoother." She goes, "This is some hair, really healthy hair here." And then like the rest of it is very different. But that's about 7 months worth of growth. So you do the math there. So I was like thrilled, and I know I mention this all the time, but this is exciting. My nails, I filed these suckers down a lot the other day before I got them done, and they're growing like crazy. And I've never been able to have long nails that weren't fake. These are mine. I have, the SNS over it, but these are my nails. So I know people are like, oh, big deal, but it is a big deal for a girl. It's really cool, especially when I always had these stupid looking little, I don't even know, dumb looking things. I had to keep really short. So, okay, it's a little vanity, so what? But anyway, so it's very exciting. Hair, nails, and skin. That's huge especially for a woman.
One of the things I see all the time is these unexpected non-scale victories.
Yes.
Things happening to people that they never, I remember when I woke up without joint pain 10 days into it, and I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Are you
and
kidding
sometimes
me?
you don't even relate it. It's like you forget that you were so miserable, and then you all of a sudden something goes bang, and you're like, wait a minute, I'm not hurting.
I was never diagnosed as arthritic. I just had aches and pains, You
thought we're normal.
Yeah, it was just part of life.
Age.
Part of living into your, I was 57 when I started carnivory. And, you wake up with a joint pain for the first time, and who knows how long, and you're like, huh? What? Then I think the only thing I've got that comes close to what you were describing as far as non-scale victories is I still think my eyesight thing is cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. I need to get my eyes checked. I haven't in over a year, and I doubt I'll have that kind of luck. But
and just to explain to people what I used to have to wear eyeglasses to drive. It was a restriction on my driver's license because I couldn't read that silly line without my glasses. And in June, I had to get my license renewed. And I took my glasses to the DMV and told the lady, so I got them. I'm ready to read the line. She said, I need you to try it without your glasses. And I could read the flipping line. She took that restriction off. And
lucky.
And she took the picture of me, and then she pulled up the old picture, and she wanted me to confirm my Social Security number and birth date because I didn't look like the guy before.
Right. The miserable, the overweight,
the psycho man, Mr. Happy.
Yeah.
And who could predict that? Who could predict that your hair would do that? It's just
not like that. No, it's obvious. She said it is very plain where it starts.
And it's just a great example of what happens when we only consume nutrition.
Yeah, good, wholesome food. Yeah, not that crap food.
Somebody's asking, how are you feeling now?
Feeling as in...
Well, that's just how are you feeling now? You're 7 months into it. How do you feel now?
Great. If you're asking like the difference, like when I transitioned over, in the beginning of carnivore, I did have low energy. I'll admit it. And I have gained a few pounds.
Gained a little weight.
A little weight, yeah. I know people are like, oh my God, but that's not uncommon with women. Through the adjustment phase. I'm only eating 2 meals a day, and I'm consuming, meat, and I've cut back on my fat because I don't need it that much anymore. I'm satiated. So it's not that. It's not calories. It's not consuming too much fat. There's no, other than my body is adapting and trying to, get on track or whatever. But my energy issue has kind of resolved. I admit by the end of the day, I'm pretty tired because I take care of my 8-month-old little granddaughter, and hey, I'm not 25 anymore, so that does kind of get me a little bit. But oh my goodness, if I was eating crap and overweight like I was, and then trying to take care of her,
oh man,
I don't even know. But
that'd
generally speaking, I say, and I feel pretty good. And I'm pretty happy with myself and how I feel, and I'm just a happier person. I was happy on keto too. I'm not. It's not all of a sudden carnivore, all of a sudden wow. But it's just kind of put me over that line, So I'm hoping I'll start, doing this with the weight again. I mean, not that I was already at maintenance; it's no big deal. But when you work so hard, you don't want to see the pound come back. I'm like,
tell you the same thing I've told you from the beginning when you first said, "Oh my gosh, I've gained a little weight." Trust your body.
Yep,
trust your body.
I'm not freaking out. I'm not saying.
And it's paying off, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, and my husband always says, well, you know what? So what about the couple of pounds? I mean, you don't want to look old by losing too much weight and have that, drawn look. And I'm like, yeah, we'll just go with that.
Well, my 15-month carniversary was on the 16th, which was just 2 whole days ago.
And how do you feel?
Oh, my goodness. Let me count the ways every aspect, and I mean every aspect of my life has been immensely improved. I mean, just starting from the worst and going down the list, 40 plus years of depression symptoms gone after 24 days.
That's huge.
40 plus years of anxiety problems gone after 5 months. Insomnia. I want to say it's gone, but once in a while, if I'm not careful, I can still have a couple of 3 nights of not sleeping well. But it's very rare. Very rare. No joint pain after 10 days. Awesome. Let's go through the TMI list. I had a bunch of skin tags. I used to have skin tags all up and down the inside of my legs, all over my torso, everywhere. All the stuff on my legs is gone completely. I still have a few hidden up here under my arms that won't go away, but they're getting smaller. So I anticipate them going away soon.
That would be awesome.
Over time.
Skin tags.
Oh,
I had a bunch removed at one point way back. And they're just nasty little
Somebody, fasting carnivore, saying their anxiety is okay now. That's awesome.
Yay,
very glad to hear that.
That's really huge.
It's a big deal, man, because anxiety sucks.
I've never had it, but I have seen other people suffer from it, and it is not a fun thing.
Panic attacks are just horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. I would be curled up on the bed in the middle of the afternoon, having one, holding on to a pillow, wondering, can I squeeze this hard enough to just go ahead and give myself a heart attack and be done with this? Or am I just, how long am I going to lay here before it happens? Because your mind's racing, you're helpless. It's just
very debilitating.
It's extremely debilitating.
One of my best friends, her daughter suffers from that, and it's awful.
All gone.
Yeah,
all
that's
gone.
Huge.
Fit my skin. I used to have eczema that started here and ended back here, covered that whole area. It was like rough sandpaper. My elbow would crack, and you could see down deep into the red. It was awful.
Yikes.
You can see right now my elbows are
clear.
My ankles were worse, and my heel was worse. That's all cleared up. My scalp used to be a flaky dandruff commercial. That's all cleared up. Mm-hmm. My skin used to be even though I washed and did all this facial care, I had zits and blackheads and all kinds of horrible crap would come out of my facial skin every day for decades. It's all cleared up. I had people that I worked with that didn't see me all the time. They'd see me every couple of months, and they were like, you look younger. Well, I most certainly am not, but thank you. And what it's done, just to be able, confidence-wise, and to be able to communicate like a regular human being. Somebody say, how long for the scalp to clear? For me, it's real important. This is always very specific to the individual. So how fast it was for me doesn't mean it's going to be that fast for someone else.
That's true.
But for me, it took about 6 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, just for the scalp.
Wow,
That's just for the scalp.
Wow.
The rest of it took a little longer. I didn't actually I wasn't like charting every little thing. I wasn't thinking in these terms.
Memory.
Yeah, to the best of my memory. That was about 6 weeks before the skin on my head cleared up perfectly. And I mean, I don't even have, I used to have spots on my face that they were just a constant breakout. I haven't had that in, 14 months now.
That's great. That is really great.
And then there's the fact that my wife, as you well know, followed me in carnivory. She's 14 months behind me. And what it's done for her has been amazing. It healed her arthritis, and her body has changed. Our marriage is so awesome now because of living this way. I mean, we're not just on the same page. We're like in the same sentence now. And it's just a mind-boggling, profound experience that we both, for different reasons at different levels, have gone through. And that's why we do those things, is because we want you all to feel as good as we do.
Yes, yes. And to know that there is hope for certain things. I mean, there's no way we can tell you when it'll clear up or even if it will. There, certain circumstances it doesn't mean everybody's going to have the same results. But there is hope. There's hope.
Yeah. I have yet to run across somebody who genuinely ate meat, drank water, didn't screw around, wasn't eating garbage on the side and saying, "Oh, I don't understand why I'm not losing weight or why this is stick. I don't understand." If you follow the directions, your body is going to reward you.
If you're eating nutrition and whole foods, and you can't go wrong. You're only going to keep improving. How can you go backwards? It just makes no sense if you're giving your body what it needs. There are environmental,
Oh, there's genetic reasons, there's environmental things.
Diet has a huge part of it, though. Huge. And you can control that. You can do that.
The thought just crossed my mind. I threw it away because I wasn't going to read it on the air, but I got a letter today. A new doctor has opened up an office within driving distance.
Yeah.
The only thing is I read through this, he follows a plant-based whole foods diet.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, well, there's a doctor I don't need to go see.
It's following the fad. That's the fad. Eating meat is not a fad. But, going plant-based, that's the fad right there. You can't live without meat, without having heavy-duty supplements,
I've still got the paper. I have thought about writing an email and just sending my story in, just to let them know, hey, eating meat and drinking water is really healthy, and I don't have any bloating. How much bloating do you have, Amber?
Zero.
None. Isn't that funny? Zero. And you've had exactly zero constipation over this 7 months. Am I not correct in that?
Zero.
In fact, going doo-doo has become a much more pleasant experience, has it not?
Yeah, but we don't get all TMI.
Well, I'm not going to get into the gory details because I don't know them, and I don't know them.
You don't know.
My point is
it's better.
All these things that they told us. Eat plants because it'll help you. It'll help your bowels. You need the fiber so that your bowels will work properly. Yeah. Is a lie. It's at best misinformation.
But what about your microbiome? You need the fiber. I was told that today in a comment that I may be okay otherwise, but what about the microbiome? That I need that, and that in years to come I'm going to be really sorry.
Yeah, we know the Andersons, Joe and Charlene, who've been eating this way for 21 years. Did they look like they're sorry yet? He's 61 and looks like he's 35. She's 47 and looks like she's 25. Oh, yeah, it's really hard on you.
But what about the blue zones? That proves everything. The blue zone.
Blue zone.
I mean, come on. That's some serious stuff right there.
Yeah. Serious stuff.
Okay, I'm a little sarcastic today, but.
Just a little.
Sorry.
Well, you've got some reason to be sarcastic. We touched on it in the beginning. We were talking about the 2-week hiatus we took between the last time we did an episode. And it's because real life was kind of wearing us down and kicking our butts a little bit with our time and our energy.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and go first.
Well, as I've mentioned before in past podcasts, my mother is going through breast cancer. And because of the type of cancer it was, even though they felt like they got all of it, that they wanted her to do chemo before the radiation. And that really just kind of kicks her right in the booty. She just had it Thursday. So I'm expecting in the next day or so, she's going to start going really like this. And it's, I feel terrible for her because it makes her so dizzy, and she had to have a brain scan because they said that wasn't normal reaction. But she like this morning in the kitchen, out of the corner of my eye, I saw her go whoop, and I'm like, what are you doing? She had lost her balance just walking into the kitchen. She had to catch the counter. I'm like, oh, goodness gracious. But, stuff like that. So I don't want her cooking or even making her own coffee. The little coffee thing is glass. And she's already passed out and broke one of my coffee pots because of that. So, I'm like trying to do stuff like that. So all day long, I'm taking care of somebody, whether it's, my mom or my 8-month-old grandbaby, or whatever. And it sometimes makes me a little crazy. And then on top of doing all of that, my bathroom flooded because we had like a pipe that was backed up that was from the house to the curb. I don't know, whatever they call that, but that all backed up. So I had all this flooding in the house, and my house was just a disaster, and everything was piled up. So it's like I can't even do a podcast because I can't get where I need to go. So, it was just a mess. And we still don't have everything moved back, by the way. We finally got rid of the gosh awful mold, mildewy smell. I don't even know what's up in the walls. It's probably not good. But everything's dry now, and we've moved back the major stuff. Now it's all this little, other stuff. I had to clean out all my closet. Oh, it was just a mess. Anyway, so that's life. That's what happened. Anyway. And you.
Let me ask you a question though, because I think it's a good opportunity to explain something important. How is the difference in how you handled this stress as a carnivore different
I don't know. My husband
before even keto?
He may, go, yeah, right. You reacted the same. I was not happy. I'm not one to like to share my bathroom, and the fact that I thought I was going to have to go a day or 2 or 3 or a week without my bathroom in my room kind of just, I'm very OCD, and I don't like things out of order. So, I could feel the kind of but I feel like I handled it better than I normally would, even though, I was upset, I'm not going to lie, but, I can't, it's hard for me to function when everything is disorganized because of the OCD thing,
Well,
but
see, it's normal.
I feel like it's better.
It's normal to get frustrated and stressed when you have that, you've got your mom with the serious health thing. And I know, everybody knows when the plumbing goes sideways, nobody's happy.
No, it's not a good thing. You don't realize how much you rely on stuff like that.
Yeah, and we've had similar experiences with plumbing issues here, as you are aware of. It's very stressful, and it can throw you out of your routine, and that's stressful on top of it. Yep. But I think I think I didn't know you before.
Yeah.
Keto carnivore. But just from my own experience, I'm certain you dealt with it hundreds of times better than you would have.
Yeah, I was kind of more of an intense person, I think. Even my hairdresser, she's like, you're so much more calm. And I was like, really? I was that bad? She's like, well, sometimes your buttons would be pushed and you'd be like, like this. And I just don't get like that anymore. Maybe
just in the 9-10 months that I've known you and we've been talking, you are calmer. you're much more confident too.
I feel like it. Definitely more
way more confident.
There's so much more than just physical stuff that improves, and keto too. I'm not discounting keto for any of that. But, carnivore just kind of takes you that little bit more of a step if you're still having some issues, which I was. So, I do feel like there's a lot to that. And I'm completely convinced that, eating, keto carnivore is the answer to world peace, because people will be a lot happier and less anxious and eager to jump on other people and stuff like that. So
I agree with that wholeheartedly. And Caitlin Weeks and I talked about this briefly. I really, she said world peace, and I couldn't tell if she was joking or not. I take it very seriously, because I have met other carnivores. And they are, people who aren't inflamed are nicer, more open,
look
pleasant.
At our community. I'm not saying you don't have those few jerks. You always do, the extremist people who think they know everything, whatever. But if you look at our community in a whole, I've been part of many different communities. Like, I was a writer, and so I was among a lot of writers. I'm talking a lot. And some of them were so nice, and some did things to stab you in the back to help them get ahead. So you have those kind of things. And I'm sure everybody's kind of dealt with that within these various little communities. But the keto carnivore community, I may have had, I think, one person that I had to block because they were ridiculous. And who's to say they actually were a carnivore? I swear, I think it was somebody who was a plant, or, just going on various carnivore keto people's pages and, aggravating them. I don't know for a fact, but I've only had to block one. And so, but on the other end of the spectrum, I've had to block a lot. I don't want to get into all that mess, but I do believe that. I think our community is so nice and supportive and happy. And KetoCon, holy moly, when I was around all those people, they were so nice and just welcomed you in their group. And, oh, here, here, sit next to me, or, what, it's so nice. And I have not experienced that amount of niceness
it's like we discovered a whole new family we didn't know we had.
Yes, and that's exactly what you feel like among these people. You don't feel like a stranger. I went to KetoCon by myself, and that is kind of a scary thing for me, honestly. But my husband was like, you know what? I could go, but why spend the money? It's not my thing, really. And I think it's important for you to be able to, talk with people and not worry about me. And it forced me to get out there, and it was easy because people came to you, and it was not scary. And that's huge for me, because I always I'm a social person, but at the same time I kind of like stay back.
You're not an extrovert.
I don't have the confidence. I am, actually, but not the kind that just has this overbubbling confidence where it's like, look at me, okay, maybe now I'm a little bit more like that, but but the people made it so easy, is my point. And, and then when you feel, good and you feel part of a family, it's an awesome experience. It really is. And I think there's something absolutely to be said about that. Our community rocks.
Basic_BAF says, when you eat inflammatory, how can you think properly or be emotionally stable?
Yes.
That's why carnivore people are happy, aka proper nutrition. And I agree with that completely.
I agree.
And I genuinely believe that if people in Western society, if everybody would stop eating sugar and grains, I'm not saying go carnivore, just stop eating sugar and grains.
Yeah.
You would see an improvement in the quality of Western civilization, unimagined.
I agree.
Not just peace and genuine happiness, people getting along, you'd see people coming together more. You'd probably see a decrease in poverty too, because there would be more people willing to help others.
Because they don't feel so sloshy and, like depressed and giving up on life and, not having goals, not trying to better themselves because why? Whoa, gloom and doom, woe is me kind of attitude. And it just perpetuates, with each generation when you raise your kids like that, and it's like, well, you can't get ahead in this life, so whatever, I totally believe that.
How is your mom doing?
Well, right now, okay. She's kind of having those hot flashes from the chemo. And like I said, I expect in the next day or two her to kind of, but we'll see.
Well, let's hope that her feeling crappy time is greatly diminished, because she's also carnivorous now, right?
For the most part, for the most part, but she will have like mushrooms and you know, a few things like that, and she does drink coffee, but you know, most people are okay with that. But there's a few things, and she likes salsa. You know, there's just a few little things like that. But for the most part, I try really hard to, you know, make sure.
Because if I remember correctly, the place where she gets her chemo done, they were really impressed with how she's responding. That she didn't require
at first. Then all of a sudden it kicked her butt. Just kicked her butt. But I imagine it could have been a lot worse. But she only has one more session, and then she's done with that. And then she goes into radiation.
I want to read this, and then I'll give my dad update here. Basic_BAF says, people at Light don't work me because I'm so happy. They also think I'm crazy for being carnivore. Look at the logic. And you know, I really believe that there's something to that, because people who eat garbage, I used to eat garbage. I remember.
Me too.
And I was open to all sorts of crazy ideas that now you couldn't encourage me to do some of those things I used to. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I could follow that logic. And now I know it was just nothing but disordered gibberish.
And I was so easily manipulated too. And now I'm like, I don't think so. You know?
Yeah, the BS meter has definitely gotten us. Mine was always
all of a sudden
pretty
it's
good.
Clear, and I have the confidence to go, wait a minute, no. Where before I'd be like, oh well, I don't know, maybe, you know, but no.
I talk. Okay, he'll talk about Dad. He's not doing so good.
That's sad.
Yeah, he's got, you know, he's been diagnosed with end-stage renal disease. You know, renal failure is coming if the heart attack doesn't happen first. It's just a question. And, you know, his time on this side of the grass, unfortunately, is now best measured in days. And it's been really disturbing. I don't speak with him. I just talk to Mom, because he's also got dementia, early stage dementia on top of this, and he gets really agitated when he hears me. So I don't want to agitate him.
Talk about the diet too. Like, what was he eating for most of his life, for all of his life? Touch a little bit on that. So to kind of.
He probably paid Magic Johnson's board salary for Pepsi Company for many years, because he drank enormous amounts of Pepsi. And then after he was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, he went to diet soda and drank just as much of that garbage. And he was not a compliant patient. He's only compliant now because he doesn't have the energy to fight. But I mean, his doctor would say, okay, you need to take these meds. And I don't know what diet his doctor gave him. I was not privy to that. You know, this was 20 some years ago when this all began. But I know he only followed it, according to my mom, the month before his next doctor visit. So what happened? He gradually just got worse and worse, and it started out with, you could fix this by diet. Okay, well, we could do it with diet and these pills, and then, well, if we're going to have to give you more of these pills, and you really need to follow your diet. And then next thing you know, it's 10 years, 15 years have passed, and he's giving himself insulin shots 3 times a day. And I'm thinking, after the first shot, I would at least start asking questions.
Yeah.
Like, what do I really have to do to make sure I don't have to give myself another one?
Exactly. Yes.
He never asked the questions. He never asked the questions. And to my knowledge, his doctor never told him that it was reversible and how to do it.
Well, that's what they still say, is that it's not reversible. You'll always be on insulin. And it's like, especially type 2 diabetics. I mean, there's almost no excuse for it anymore. I mean,
You're right.
There's certain people who have gone so far and done so much damage
Like my dad. That's where my dad's at right now. He's reaping the rewards. And I call it the end game I want. Because the phrase I want is so destructive. It's destructive whenever I use it. When I want becomes more important than what we need, then we're going to lose, and we're going to pay for it. And he's paying for it with his life.
I don't want to follow my family. I don't. I mean, with the diabetes, the high blood pressure, the heart disease, oh goodness gracious, there's so much in my background, and it's like, no, I don't want to live like that. I see no point in living longer if your quality of life sucks. And I have a grandbaby, and I'm going to have more, I'm sure. And I want to be that grandmother who does all that fun stuff and is all crazy, and everybody just like, oh, Lord, there's my grandmother dancing at the wedding again, that kind of thing. and
But isn't it interesting?
Much to live for.
Exactly. You're happy. You feel good. You're not miserable. Hold it. I know you got one of your before pictures there handy. Hold it up.
Oh, I do. Yeah, I do. I do. Oh, yeah. Okay, ready?
Yeah, go for it. Now, when you were that person, you had little to no hope for the future.
Look at that. I was miserable.
Sure you were. And you're thinking, because you were so miserable and you were eating garbage, etc., what thoughts did you have for the future? What was there to live for and look forward to?
I mean, my kids, for sure. But at the same time, I focused so much on them that I deliberately, so I didn't have to deal with me. I mean, there's no excuse for it. You can still give your kids everything and take care of yourself too.
Right.
I didn't value myself enough to do that. And that's a huge mistake I made. And, I wasn't the only one that suffered. My poor husband.
Sure.
I mean, my kids. Think about all the things that I could have done, like just go to the beach and enjoy myself. Do you think I wanted to do that? Do you think I wanted to be in a bathing suit? No. So guess what? We didn't really go to the beach very much. And when we did, I didn't get in the water or anything. I don't like getting in the water anyway because sharks and stuff, I'm weird. But yeah, whatever. I saw Jaws when I was a kid, okay? It traumatized me. But so it's stuff like that, and you just don't realize. And also bad health at that point when that picture was taken. My blood pressure ran something like 210 over 110.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
So wonder your heart didn't just go boom.
Exactly. Scary. I couldn't hardly even change the kitty litter. To do that task, I had to lay on the couch for an hour and recover. Yeah. Walking up the stairs to go see a movie, I always sat down low. And I was one of those people who I like to be in the top row. And so, my husband was kind of, like that. But I tried so bad to hide it from him because I didn't want to admit it to myself that I was unhealthy, that I had to change my diet. Let's be honest. I mean, I knew it was my fault. But for me, it was more like, oh, well, I ate too much instead of, oh, maybe you're eating the wrong crap. The cereal, Special K. Great stuff.
I remember Lucky Charms and Captain Crunch.
And oatmeal with a banana.
Oh, God. And I didn't do the banana.
Yeah. And whole wheat toast. Let's not forget about that. Yeah.
Well, see, I did regular white bread, and I did 2% milk. And I did oatmeal. I did oatmeal with a ton of sugar in it. And a ton of margarine. Margarine. Gotta melt that margarine because it tasted taste that you could only get if you added margarine.
Absolutely. Yep.
I would just as soon eat cat litter now as smell that.
I know. The thing, but we were told that was what was healthy.
Oh,
that is what is infuriating.
My mom and dad, I would eat that for a snack in the evening. And because it was oatmeal and it was healthy and it was pennies per bowl, they never said a word.
Exactly. Why? I mean, you were eating good. Yeah.
And geez, look what it got us.
Yeah.
Decades of miserable.
Yeah.
Let's see. Other things. We had some interviews. Matter of fact, you did I want to brag on you for a minute. And if your head starts to swell, other people will see, and you'll be embarrassed. Anyway, I thought the Facebook Live you did the other night with Ann was just spectacular.
Thank you.
I thought it was very informative. You gave a lot of really good information out. And it's one of the reasons what we do here is we give a lot of the basics out every time we do one of these, because it's so important. We have new people coming to us all the time. I want to lose weight. I'm tired of arthritis. I've got depression. Anxiety's kicking my ass. Yeah, my skin is just scaly. I want to be able to go outside and people see my arms, etc. And it really, really is important that we share our experiences.
And I was and nobody is not important. I mean, everybody is important. Your story is important. You may think, oh, it's just the average. That's the way I feel too. But it's amazing how many people can relate to what you're going through. And even though you think it's not that wowing, it does make a difference. So never be afraid to share your story. And if the opportunity happens along, start spreading that news a little bit. People don't know these things. And maybe if it even just plants a little idea in their head and then they go and research it themselves. Yes. I mean, that's the whole point. Don't, offer unsolicited advice and shove it in their face. That doesn't work. But you can kind of feel a situation and know when it might be okay to kind of say something or to plant that seed and let it kind of grow. But never be afraid to share your story for sure, because everybody has an important story to tell that somebody will relate to. So always share.
And back to the confidence issue and whatnot that we kind of touched on earlier. As you were talking about that, and as I was watching you do the live, I couldn't help but remember when Amber and I first started chatting in video, because we decided that we wanted to do this podcast thing together, but we also recognized that we needed to get to know each other a little bit. We needed to get used to talking to one another. And Amber would get on camera, and all you could see was like this much of her face. She had her hair pulled down, and she hunkered down really low. There was, that was kind of it. And you sat down, you had the camera pointed to where you could just see you from here to here. That was it. No shoulders, anything. And now look at you. You're doing interviews. You've got a podcast. You do your regular videos. Your Instagram's going by leaps and bounds, just like I predicted it would all those months ago.
Yeah.
But it's all natural confidence.
Yeah,
it's not artificial.
It's been a progression. Yeah,
it's not I started drinking an extra cup of coffee and geez, I could do anything kind of stuff. It's or I got me my energy drink and I'm good to go. It's not that at all.
No, it gives you the confidence again to actually go for some of your goals. One thing for me, my whole life, I've been like this. I've always wanted to help people in some way or another. And, I tried the whole, when I lost 100 pounds one time, one of 4 times I've done that. Yeah. Terrible. But I wanted to spread the news, Weight Watchers. That was the best stuff ever because I lost all this weight, right? Well, sure, I did. But guess what? I gained it right back. How embarrassing. I had a website and everything, and I was telling people, boy, you need to, cut that fat, and you need to do this and that, and eat low fat, all this kind of stuff. Oh my goodness, I did that, yes. And then I gained the weight back and had to just, there went the website, there went everything, because it was not okay for me to promote something I couldn't even maintain. So now I've found my thing and it's working, and I have been maintaining my weight for 14 months, except for the couple of pounds that, or whatever pounds I've gained since going carnivore, which again, it's very, or I should say not uncommon for women, especially my age, to do this in the beginning. So other than that, I have maintained my weight for 14 months, and I have never done that more than maybe a month. And within like 4 months, I had gained dang near all that 100 pounds back. So Yeah. So it's huge.
It's amazing to me. You said 14 months for you with keto and now carnivore. It's 15 months for me that I've been, carnivore. The carnivore way of eating is a ketogenic diet.
Yes.
We are in ketosis. We are making ketones and we are burning them. And the longer you're fat adapted, the more efficiently you'll burn ketones. And
yes.
maybe it won't show up so high on the meter because
and that's what happened to me.
Your body
but
is
I'm not eating anything to where I would not be. And the whole gluconeogenesis thing, don't freak on that because that's pretty much been debunked. And it's a demand-driven thing. And when your body needs it, it will create it. But it's a very costly process. So it's not going to do it unless it really needs to.
Not only that,
don't worry about that.
If you need carbohydrate, your liver will make all you need.
That's exactly right.
You never have to consume any. So that's another non-essential essential that you could scratch off the need to eat list along with sugar and plants. There's no such thing as an essential carbohydrate.
No. And boy, when I put something like that out there, people are just, and I'm like, oh, I know this is triggering. I understand. And I even put the warning there, trigger warning, because it's going to trigger somebody. Oh my gosh, you must eat your vegetables, you must eat your fruit, and you must have your fiber for your microbiome.
Well, we're living proof. You're 7 months. I'm 15 months. No dietary fiber of any kind.
No.
If it was essential, we would both be in great physiological distress.
Yeah, I would say at least by a month in, we would be having issues.
I mean, according to the registered dietitians and all the accredited people, those the honored professions.
Yeah, the ones who like to comment on my page.
Yeah, the ones who defend big pharma and big food's revenue streams, basically, by telling us to follow. You need to, the RDAs, you really need to follow those RDAs. I did, and it almost killed me.
Yeah, me too. For 40-something years. And, again, how healthy am I? I went to the bathroom a whole lot. Sure, the fiber was awesome. But I also was constipated too. So, there you go. I kind of look constipated, right?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
Constipated, full of misery is what it looks like to me.
Exactly. Yeah, it was not good. Not good.
What about listening to your body? Has that...
Yeah.
Talk about that for a minute, because 7 months, I remember I could respect I got to appreciate what my body was telling me it's like I used to eat way more bacon than I do now, believe it or not. I used to eat 4 times a day. I used to eat 4 times a day, and that 4th meal was 12 slices of bacon in the evening, because when I first started this, I was starving. Oh my gosh, I was so hungry.
I was hungrier,
and I lost weight.
Okay, I didn't.
I was over 4,000 calories and I lost weight. Think about that for a minute. But you're talking about maintaining your weight.
Yeah.
My weight has been between 176 and 181 pounds for 14 months. It has not deviated out of that a single time.
That's pretty major.
I've made some adjustments to how I'm not eating nearly as much because I listened to my body. It was like one day it was like, okay, we're going to cut it. You need to stop eating the evening bacon. You just don't need it anymore. And I think that was what helped me get through the beginning stages of adaptation, was I needed that fat. My body hadn't had the right kind of animal fat for a long time, and it was starving for it.
Yeah.
And then, my adaptation really took like 5 months because I had loose stool for 5 months. Interesting point. I had that for 5 months, but when the loose stool went away, my anxiety also went away.
Oh, you never
my body was telling me. Well, it didn't go away because the loose stool went away. It's just
but
the healing, the healing and the improvement in the body's engine let's say, for lack of a better phrase.
That's
it's just phenomenal. And it's just one of those things that I hadn't realized until somebody else mentioned it to me.
Right.
When you realize it, you still went away the same time your anxiety went away.
Healing. Yeah, I think, listening to your body is a really huge thing. And here's the thing. And so many people will say, well, I used to listen to my body and I ate sugar and blah, blah, blah. Well, that's because you were feeding your body crap. And the signals, your hormones were all kinds of jacked, and they didn't know what the heck was going on. They were being assaulted. And so your body is only trying to, figure out what these other things are saying, and it can't communicate properly. But when you feed your body only the good nutrients, wholesome, good food, quality food, then your body can work like it's meant to be, and then you can trust the signals. You can trust when you're hungry. Okay, and let me just make a little side note here. There's always exceptions to everything. For instance, when you say you can't overeat protein. Okay, I can't. Me personally can't. But I have had some people who tell me, specifically if they are one of those people who are binge eaters, which I had that disorder. So it's kind of interesting that I don't have that issue now. But maybe I'm done with part of that healing. I don't know. But there are some people who claim they can eat more protein than what their body needs or whatever. They still binge on it. I find that like, wow, but I'm not saying, and I believe them. It's not that. It's just wow to me. So there are exceptions, but generally speaking, once you clear your body of all this, and there are psychological things like the binge eating, but you listen to your body, and when you eat a certain amount of the protein, your body's going to go, yeah, no. I've had to actually spit out food because I couldn't physically chew anymore. I was like almost wanting to gag. And so, and so I listened to my body that way. And when I was hungry, I upped my fat just a teeny bit as well as the protein. And then when that kind of subsided and my energy came back and that kind of thing, I cut back on the fat again. And I don't add additional fat very often, just if I'm eating kind of ridiculously lean. I like lean meat. I tried fatty meat. I just can't. I don't like it.
I'm like that too. I'm not a big fan of the fatty meat except for bacon. Bacon's where I get my fat from.
Yeah, me too.
But obviously. I was taught to only eat the meat I crave and can afford. And for me, I can tell if I'm going to like something by looking at it. And I mean, when it comes to meat, I know what kind of meat I want to eat. And the redder, the more dense the protein for me, the better. And that's why I eat that super lean 90-10 ground beef and 93-7 ground beef. I mean, it looks like the 93-7 looks like pure muscle almost.
Yeah.
And it's insanely satisfying for me. But I'm like you. Once I get full, I can't swallow that. I can't swallow another bite. I cannot. I just can't. And I've tried. Just the thought of trying to overeat makes me about half nauseous.
Yeah, me too. I physically can't do it anymore. And like you're talking about the adjustments. I'm noticing that I'm hungry a little bit earlier than I have been. And so when I do get, sometimes it's hard because, I have the baby, right? So it's harder for me to eat when, oh my gosh, I'm hungry. So sometimes I have to wait. It's not like I'm like, oh, it's not 12 o'clock. I can't eat yet. I don't do that. But anyway, so I will eat, and I tend to eat a little bit more than what I was. But when it comes time for dinner, all I want is just an 8-ounce burger, and that's it. I don't want anything else. I don't have any sides. I don't, sides. What I mean by sides is bacon, sausage, chicken.
I know what you meant. I knew what you meant.
Just making sure. Because,
Amber's got some asparagus in her pocket.
No. The thought of fiber now, no. No.
Oh, I'm serious.
We got something.
Yeah, we got basic BA_BAF is talking about how, that's the body saying that it's time to stop eating. It's, let us do our thing.
Yeah.
And basic BF says they get that way when they eat eggs and pork, but they thought it was a different issue. I just eat meat. I have no eggs, and
It's just you.
It's just
no. It is. That's another interesting thing when you listen to your body. Like, I was a chicken eater, only chicken. I only wanted chicken. Once a year, twice a year, I'd eat a steak. Seriously. And, steak is bad. Meat, red meat, bad. Saturated fat, bad. Don't eat that stuff. You're going to die of a heart attack, right? So I didn't, for part of that reason. And the other part, I like chicken. I don't know why, but now I have it every now and then. Sometimes I just want it and I'll eat it. But other times I couldn't physically chew it, because I don't want it. It's weird, but it's not that I dislike it. It's almost like my body is going, yeah, not today. And like last night, I made pork chops for my husband and my mother. I didn't want that. The thought of putting that in my mouth, I was like, I can't chew it. It's not something I want that day. But it's not that I dislike pork, and it's not that another time I'll want it. It was weird. So I just made my burger like I always do, and I was perfectly happy. So yeah, I mean, it's not just you, but we can,
Oh, I knew that. I knew that.
But whatever.
You're still trying. You gave up. I noticed you gave up on trying to shock me.
You don't know that.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Maybe I'm just waiting until you're not waiting for it.
Oh, please.
Oh, you know what? It's we only got 4 minutes.
We
so if
only
anybody
have
wants
4
to
minutes.
ask a question,
you're the host, so
yeah.
Really
okay, 2 minutes. So if y'all want to ask any questions, I know y'all are just dying to know such great stuff about us.
And I know we had some people come in here in the last few minutes.
Yeah.
I want to let everybody know this will be uploaded to the KetovoreKast YouTube page. Do we have any tips on how to incorporate beef into the diet after not eating it for 20 years?
Well, you know what? Like I said, I did eat beef. I didn't never eat it, but like I just said, I mostly ate chicken. So
they answered. They asked a really important question that we need to include. It says, or if I can digest pork, should I just be fine with beef? Yes.
Yeah. Sure.
There's not any real difference in how we digest pork versus fish versus beef.
But beef is more nutrient dense.
That's correct.
All ruminant animals are. So never be afraid of that. No, you're getting the most bang for your buck. It's just for those people who prefer something different, or their body's telling them that's what they need. Go for it. But if not, no. Are you kidding? Beef, that's what I eat 95% of the time. Well, except for my bacon, obviously that's pork. But yeah, I mean, other than bacon, 95% of the time I eat beef. That's what
when I first started carnivore, I ate I always had bacon, but I had fish, I had pork shoulder roast, I had things like that. And it was delicious. It was all insanely delicious, but I gravitated red meat's what satisfies me. Yeah. And let's see, it's not like beef enzyme is different. The pork enzyme's in the stomach.
Yeah, I think though your body adjusts to that when you start feeding it certain things. Just like if you were plant-based, your microbiome and all of that will change. And
there's no real reason that you can't eat beef.
There are a few things like the Lone Star tick, and there's a genetic. I don't know which one it is, but
that's not what she's talking. That's not what this person's dealing with. This person here is just haven't had beef. I'm going to guess it's for reasons specific to where they live. And I'm also going to, it's not going to hurt you. It's just meat.
And if you just find it disgusting, then you can't, get a taste for it or whatever,
But it's not going to hurt you. No, it's not going to hurt you.
No.
It's not
unless you have one of those weird things.
Unless you have one of those, you could have a histamine allergy or something like that. Yeah. In which case, if you eat fresh meat, you're going to dodge most of that. So as long as your meat's fresh, beef will be fine. You'll thrive on it, most likely.
Okay, we got 1 minute left, so we don't want to be cut off. But thank y'all so much for joining. It was a lot of fun. Thanks for the questions. And we hope you have a wonderful weekend. Okay, Brett, you finished.
Hey, my friends, eat your meat, drink your water. Don't worry about if you get too old, beef's going to hurt you or something if you didn't eat it. That's a non sequitur. Just eat the meat you crave and can afford. Always be thankful.
Bye, y'all. Have a wonderful weekend. Thanks again for joining.
Take care.